Hi everyone! So today we're going to talk about why you should never give up on yourself no matter what. No matter how stupid, incompetent, ugly, uneducated, unrefined, and even undeserving you might think you are, we're going to talk about the importance of the mindset of never giving up on yourself and the ripple effect it can have in all other areas of your life, including your goals and your dreams and the things you want to achieve in life. We'll also discuss about how you can develop that strength, that resilience and tenacity that's going to help you on, keeping on being your own cheerleader, your own support system, so that giving up on yourself is not even a thing anymore. Because no matter how hard, how difficult, how challenging, and sometimes how downright dark and impossible, insurmountable things might seem in your life, giving up on yourself is never the answer. And in this video, I will prove that to you. But before we start, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, here on this channel, I talk about how you can find your passion and go after it at any age, how you can find balance even at the most difficult times in your life, and how you can be happy with the things and the people you already have surrounding you. So if you're interested, make sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Now, let's get to today's topic. So the first thing to realize is that there is always light at the end of the tunnel. Always. It's not sometimes, it's not maybe, it is a fact. And it's the same with life. But because of your current problems, all these things that you have to deal with in most or all areas of your life have kind of convinced you that these things are going to stay forever, that you will never be able to get over them, that you will never be able to solve or resolve them. But that is going against the natural law. The only thing that's constant in life, in this world, in our world, is that change is the only constant. Nothing else is, not even you. You will have your time here, and so it's the same with everything. Everything is going to, happen for sometimes. It might feel like, it's lingering. It might feel like it's going on forever because you're going through it. But nothing can go on forever without at some point experiencing some sort of change or transformation, because that is the natural law. And you and your problems cannot be any different. You cannot be the exception. Knowing this, you can now relax a bit. But just because change is inevitable, change is going to occur, change is going to happen. There is nothing you can do about it. It's the natural law. But just because something is changing, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to come with a new situation that is going to be to your liking. In fact, it might be the complete opposite, and you might feel like it's even worse than the situation you're dealing with now. So this is the kind of change you want to avoid. This is the kind of change that you have to consciously do something about. You have to consciously intervene or alter, because that's possible. Because there are two ways in which change happens. The first one is, a situation where you're just sitting around, wallowing in your problems, not doing anything about it, just indulging on your sadness and despair, and change happens on its own, and it might be the kind of change that you don't need. The second one is the one where you're proactively putting your input, making the effort to change the situation, to help that natural process bring about the change that you want. Because what happens in these situations where you are being passively observing things, you're not doing anything about your situation, is that the change that is going to appear, the change that's going to happen, because there is no input from you, because your time and your energy is being spent on sadness and anger about your situation and not anything constructive, that change will have used, other people's inputs or other situations that have nothing to do with you, or that have, not your best interest. So in this situation, you are just an observer, and not in a good way. You're just going to helplessly watch things unfold, and more often than not, it's going to be a situation that either is destructive to you or does nothing to you. So this is not what you want. What you want to do is you want to be proactive. You want to just transform that sadness, that anger, that self-pity that you have, just transform that energy into creating the kind of change you want for your life. The second thing is to realize that your outside world is more under your control than you could ever imagine with your current mentality, with your current mindset of victimhood and helplessness. And when the controller is not aware of their power, the outside world is just going to do its thing, and it really doesn't care whether you are suffering as a result, whether you are miserable as a result. It's just going to happen until the time you wake up and realize or remember your true nature. And your true nature is that you are the co-creator of your life. Your outside world is only but mirroring your most dominant thoughts, emotions, and the actions that cannot be separate from your emotional state, because our emotions are what, most of the time affect our actions. We do things because we feel a certain way. We even do things that are crazy that we wouldn't do if we were in control of our minds, if we were in control of our thoughts. So if you feel like your outside world is reflecting back to you a very just miserable reality that you can't wait to get away from, know that you are attempting at something nearly impossible, because you can never get away from yourself. You can never get away from your own thoughts and emotions. And those are the only things that are being reflected in your reality. So this is why you feel like things are not changing in your life. Because even if you were to change countries, even if you were to do any physical action that would get you out of that situation, out of that environment where you feel suffocated, nothing much will change unless there is change in the way you think, in the way you control your mind and your emotions, because that will stay with you and that will create the same reality even if you're changing your environment. So all the disappointment, confusion, disillusionment about the things taking place on your outer world will come to an end once you realize that there is nothing to change on the outside world. The only thing that needs to change happens to be within. So the only thing that needs to change is your own mindset, your own thoughts, emotions, and your beliefs about yourself and the world. These are the things that need to change, because once you deal with this, whatever is happening on the outside world has no power over you. Whether things are going great in your life or they're just, it doesn't matter. Because you have the kind of mindset that can override, that can transcend all these things. And this is like magic, because now you're not in constant need of everything to be in order, everything to work out. Even for the things you want to see come to fruition, you'll realize that there will be a transition period where you're doing all the shedding process of your old beliefs, and at the same time, slowly but surely, you will see a parallel. You will see that things on the outside are kind of mirroring all the changes that are taking place within you. But you don't have to be desperate. You don't have to be impatient. You just have to see this through. Last but not least is number 3, and that is that you are the prize. You are your most important asset. You are the goal. And this is why, if you don't have, a healthy self-image, even if you have been able to achieve all the things that you want, even if you have the world at the tip of your fingers or whatever, it still feels like you're missing something. It still feels like there is something major that's missing, and you will still be unhappy and unfulfilled in life. That is because you have not realized the importance of your own growth, your own expansion, your own transcendence, beyond all this physical obsession, all these things, achievement, success, and whatnot. But this can sometimes be difficult, very difficult, because you have now attached your self-worth with the things that you're able to achieve, to do, or to provide, or to show to the world, as a result of your efforts. And even the world is applauding for this sort of achievements. But this is very dangerous, because what happens when you're unable to fulfill that, when you're unable to achieve something? You give up on yourself. And that is, you're giving up on the most important asset for lesser assets. It's like saying that the goal is more important than the person. The creation is more important than the creator. But it cannot be, because the creator has infinite ways of recreating those results. So how can they be more important? The secret is to realize that no matter how hard your situation is right now in your life, giving up on yourself is never the answer. There may be need to give up on some thoughts and habits that are contributing to your situation, but giving up on yourself isn't, because that is not where the problem is. The problem is in the way you think and in the way you are operating as a result of those thoughts and habits. And as long as you're not tying yourself to a schedule, a timeline where you're saying, if this doesn't happen for me by this time, I'm going to give up, I quit. If you're not like this and you are working hard, you're being consistent, you're being diligent, there is no way that you're not going to be able to see the fruits of your labor. It's going to happen because you're not tied to any time, you're not tied to situations, you're not allowing whatever it is that is happening in your life affect what you're doing. Things may be excruciatingly difficult, there may be delays, there may be setbacks, there may be a lot of things that you need to deal with during this time. But not only are you continuing on that journey or continuing on doing whatever it is that you're doing, regardless of all these things happening in your life, you'll also come to realize that these things are not a curse. They are not just happening to you so that they can make things even harder or more challenging for you. You'll come to realize that these are the very things that are building character, that are helping you become stronger, more resilient, and also that they are the very thing that are going to help you achieve the things that you want to achieve, because they're making you stronger. You're no more that weak person who's just defeated in the face of challenge or difficulties in life. And this is why you should never give up on yourself, because you are more flexible and malleable than you think. There is nothing set in stone about your character, your personality, yourself. You can change everything about yourself as long as you have that resolve and you have that dedication, as long as you are not weak so as to give up on your most important asset, so as to give up on yourself.